Welcome to the League of Nerds comic book segment number 63. I'm John Cooney here to talk to you about comics released the 17th of April, 2013. Beginning as usual with my first five, meaning these are the first 5 books I intend to read this week, and I'll give you a little more depth on them. Starting with at number 1, Daredevil End of Days number 7 of 8. The mystery of Daredevil's final days leads Ben Urich through a gauntlet of the Man Without Fear's enemies. The trail brings Ben to the Church of the Hand, and the confrontation with Daredevil? The penultimate chapter of Daredevil's final tale is here, and some of his greatest creators are here to tell it. With the amazing lineup of talent on this book, Brian Michael Bendis, David Mack, Alex Maleev, Klaus Jensen, and Bill Sienkiewicz, series writer Bill Sienkiewicz spoke recently about what it's like to work on this all-star project. Quote, "It's a total joy. We all know we've got each other's backs. Klaus, David, and I have discussed this quite a bit, and we're all of us exactly in the same zone as far as how we each work on the series, that the story is the main thing. We're each there to serve that end, not to distract or detract from it. We're simpatico as to how we view the series and the overall Daredevil canon, and we all emotionally feel the same way about the project, which is that we simply love it. We love and respect the characters, even the villains, and we really love working with each other. I couldn't ask for better, more committed colleagues. We realize this is a very special project, one that will of necessity come to its end, of course, after a fantastic experience in the making of, but one we'll be really proud of at the end of the day. Pun intended." Close quote. When asked if he feels this is Daredevil canon, Bill responded, quote, "Oh, absolutely. I don't think I could be putting this much into it, or if I'd even have worked on it at all, if it was pitched as a what-if or an imaginary elsewhere series. I guess I want to feel the series matters, if that's not too odd to say. To be honest, I don't think anyone else working on the series would have done it either if that was the case." Close quote. At number 2, we've got Age of Ultron number 6 of 10. The heroes take the fight to Ultron, with the near-broken Captain America taking the lead. Meanwhile, Wolverine takes it upon himself to make one of the most controversial decisions in the history of Marvel Comics, and you'll never believe who goes along with him. This issue switches gears as we transition from the Brian Hitch art we saw in the first 5 issues. Series editor Tom Brevoort explained the change, quote, "As you get to the point and move into issue 6, it'll be very apparent to everybody who's reading why and how the artist shift operates and functions. You'll see why both Brandon Peterson and Carlos Pacheco, who are doing portions of issue number 6 and beyond, are doing the sections that they're doing. There's a methodology to it that makes sense. I can't tell you a heck of a lot about it just now, but you'll certainly get a sense of it by the time you get to Age of Ultron number 5. Then you'll see it play out in issue 6 and subsequent issues. I can't really talk too much, though, about what that involves. I can say that both of them are excellent illustrators. They both do great heroic characters. They're both great with technology. Also, both of them recently worked very effectively with Brian on his last Avengers and New Avengers stories, so there's a nice comfort level there in terms of what they would bring to the table. You can ask me this question again when issue 6 comes out, but right now it's hard for me to say specifically why Brandon was the perfect person to do this without telling you what this is." Close quote. At number 3, we've got X-Factor number 254. Hell on Earth war rages on as X-Factor struggles to stop the Hell Lords from tearing the Earth apart in their battle for dominance. And as the war spills into New York City, X-Factor receives help from longtime allies, but help may come too late as members of X-Factor investigations continue to fall. Now, notable for Peter David's often humorous personal insertions into the recap page, this issue reads, quote, "Peter wasn't able to work on the recap page because he's been busy sculpting the future of X-Factor. He visited the Marvel offices recently to chat with his editors, and we can guarantee he's got plans. Big plans. Plans you won't want to miss." Close quote. Now, that's good news for Peter David and X-Factor fans as Peter continues to recover from his stroke. Peter's wife wrote recently on his blog, quote, "The closer we get back to normal, the better we all feel. We know that we're living in a new normal, and we're all about halfway to figuring out what that is." And again, I have to thank our family, friends, and the fans. To the gang at Marvel Entertainment, thanks for all the help and the reassurance. To Heroes Initiative for stepping up and giving us a hand when we weren't sure how we were going to get to the next step, and your continued support. To the gang at Farpoint and everyone who helped with that auction. To JK and everyone who participated in the art auction, thank you. To everyone who bought a book or donated or just passed the words around the net, thank you. If there's one thing we have learned from all this, is that we are loved and that has helped a lot even in the darkest of times during this whole thing. I am so very grateful that my husband is alive and working. Close quote. Now to that I just add, so am I. At number 4, we've got Superior Spider-Man number 8, Troubled Mind Part 2. Peter Parker takes a stand. With the villain acting like a hero and a hero acting like a villain, one man has decided that enough is enough. More with Cardiac, more surprises, and a moment that will break a lot of hearts. To save the life of one of Spider-Man's enemies, Peter Parker fights to regain control of his body, his mind, and his destiny. Is this the beginning of the end of Otto Octavius? Series writer Dan Slott spoke about this issue. Quote, "Man, whether you read issue number 8, there's a moment in issue 8 I really like. He wants to be a hero. He's tried being a villain and he's failed at it miserably. Has he ever had a single plan bear fruit? The one thing he's really done where he got Spider-Man, the one thing he really did in the past where it was grr, gotcha, and oh, the feels, was when Captain Stacy died. And that was an accident. You shot that special web fluid and now my arms are going crazy." So he never really set himself a goal, done it, achieved it, bam. We've seen him try to cure cancer. We've seen him with the stunner. We've seen him do these things that can look at and go, oh, he's not such a bad guy, close quote. He went on to explain his plans for the upcoming issues. Quote, "There's going to be major game changer in issue number 9. 7 and 8 is the Avengers and Cardiac story. 9 and 10 have those gorgeous Marcos Martin covers, and it's the return of Ryan Stegman. Stegman doing 9 and 10. 9 is the big thing that happens. 10 is all the fallout. Then 11, 12, and 13 are me and Chris Gage and Giuseppe Camuncoli with our giant adventure with all of our payback from everyone who's been brutalized. 14 is my big guilty pleasure issue with Umberto." Close quote. And at number 5, we've got Nova number 3. It's time for Sam Alexander's training day, and with Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora and Rocket Raccoon in charge, Nova soon learns that old lesson, practice makes painful. Series writer Jeff Loeb spoke recently about the book. Quote, "This is a story that's been in the works for quite some time. Steve, Ed, and I have been in the trenches of knowing where it was going, and as we kept trying to tell folks, this isn't a reboot, this isn't a reinvention, this is another story. What's been so wonderful about Nova is you can follow the exploits of different Novas." Close quote. He went on to explain, quote, "The first 2 issues was to set up how Sam came to get the helmet and to slowly start to learn what its powers are. But we've said from the very beginning that part of the fun of this story is sort of, what would you do if you found Tony Stark's armor, and if you had no way to become Tony Stark? I think some folks have seen the preview pages for the first pages of issue 3, where the Watcher shows Sam something really, really bad, and that'll be our first adventure." Close quote. Rounding out the top 10 at number 6, we've got Wolverine and the X-Men number 27 AU, an Age of Ultron tie-in. Make sure you read number 6 first. Wolverine and the Invisible Woman find themselves in the Avengers past. At number 7, we've got Nightwing number 19. Death of the family is over, but the laughs continue to plague Nightwing. But it can't be him, can it? At number 8, we've got Red Hood and the Outlaws number 19. What horrors lie beneath the mask of the Red Hood? At number 9, we've got XO Manowar number 12. What lurks beneath the surface of Planet Death? Eric of Dacia has taken his one-man war to the Vine's homeworld, Loam, and is using their own XO Manowar armor to wage it. Finding an ally in the unlikeliest of places, Eric will discover that his mission to reduce Loam to ash will come with a huge price. Past, present, and future are about to collide, and if Eric isn't careful, he'll be the common thread that undoes them all. And at number 10, we've got Bloodshot number 10. All new arc, all new jumping on point. Harbinger Wars continues in this standalone 4-part arc of Bloodshot, featuring comics legendary Barry Kitson of the Fantastic Four. Bloodshot is banded together with Project Rising Spirit's most dangerous escapees. Can he shape them into a force for good, or are they too far gone? Find out in part 1 of Harbinger Wars, Bloodshot. For the best of the rest this week from DC, we've got Birds of Prey number 19. There's a traitor on the team, so who's the member that threatens to tear the Birds of Prey apart? Next, we've got Catwoman number 19. Catwoman needs help, but what is the only place the Justice League of America can take her? We've got DC Universe Presents number 19. In this final issue, what time-displaced hero has arrived on our world, and is the destruction he brings the herald to a greater disaster? We've got Justice League number 19. Who is the one person dangerous enough to use kryptonite against Superman? Next, we've got Justice League of America's Vibe number 3. What is the one superpower that is more than a match for Vibe, and how can it tear the universe apart? We've got Supergirl number 19. In a battle of equals, which girl will reign supreme? And we've got Wonder Woman number 19. What is the one way Wonder Woman can stop Orion? From Marvel this week, we've got Cable and X-Force number 7. Cyclops comes face to face with his son Cable. Colossus isn't faring well in prison. Next, we've got Captain America number 6. The odd war of Dimension Z continues. Steve Rogers is dead. Long live Captain Zola. A traitor strikes. Arnim Zola gets everything he wants. We've got Captain Marvel number 12, the issue that will kick off a major Captain Marvel and Avengers event. Still grounded from flying, Captain Marvel takes on a different and dangerous kind of bird, Deathbird. Handicapped but determined, Carol risks her powers and her life, plus the unstoppable evil that's been pulling Deathbird's strings. We've also got Daredevil number 25. The hidden foe behind Daredevil's troubles plays his trump card. Foggy's life is on the line. Plus, who is Nelson and Murdoch's mysterious benefactor, and what does he want? Next, we've got Iron Man number 8. The mind-blowing conclusion to the God Killer. Tony Stark, the God Killer, is found guilty. What horrible punishment will the Shard impose? The surprising consequences of Iron Man's role in AVX. We got Savage Wolverine number 4. Enter Man-Thing. The Savage Land holds many secrets, among them what could be the key to resurrection, but at what cost? We got Thunderbolts number 8. A new terrorist mastermind rises with close ties to a Thunderbolt. His cell has weaponized decommissioned Crimson Dynamos. Meanwhile, the Thunderbolts are tearing themselves apart. We've also got Ultimate Comics Wolverine number 3 of 4. A story from Wolverine's past is revealed. Who is the mother of his son? The terrifying potential of Project Mothervine is unleashed. Jimmy Hudson is caught in a brutal life and death battle he can't hope to win against a brother he never knew he had. And we've got X-Men Legacy number 9. Legion and Blindfold go on a date on the moon. But when Legion reveals his ulterior motive for visiting the moon, will Blindfold leave him without a goodnight kiss? From IDW this week, we've got Doctor Who number 8, Space Oddity Part 2 of 2, the conclusion of a special 2-part story written by iVampire's Joshua Hale Fialkov. When a cosmonaut attempts the first spacewalk in 1965, the rest of his crew watches in horror as he's swallowed whole by Shadow. Only the Doctor can save the spacecraft and the historically important mission. From Image Comics, we've got Chew number 33, Tony takes on a load of sailors. We've also got Mara number 4 of 6. The military is keen to co-opt Mara now that her abilities are maturing, and they aren't above using her soldier brother to convince her. They offer to accept her again, and she rightly rejects it for the crap that it is. Cut off not only from friends and family, but now from her country, where can she go now? Brian, Ming, and Geordi raise the stakes. We've got Revival number 9. Em and Dana have a long dinner and talk about murder. There's something weird going on in Cooper's dad's shed. Joe Myers isn't feeling quite like himself lately, and the authorities start cracking down on gently used body parts. And last, we've got Thief of Thieves number 13. Conrad and Augustus are trapped with nowhere to run from the cartel and FBI. Can father and son's first heist together end in any way but death or capture? Find out in the conclusion to the Thief of Thieves' second arc. Alright, that's it. There's no time for trades this week, but you can find several in the DC and Marvel videos for this week. You can also see my video for all the top independent publishers for even more titles out this week. It's all available on my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com. You can always follow what I read as I read it on my Facebook, Pinterest, or Twitter. The links to everything are up at he'sgotissues.com. And a reminder that both He's Got Issues and the League of Nerds are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.